Hey everybody, Yankee here. I'm sure most of you by now are already aware of what is transpiring in the state of Maine, the tragic loss of life up there. You know, it is an unusual place for something like this to happen, as someone said last night, but it just goes to show you it can happen anywhere. Anywhere there's unbalanced people not getting the treatment they need, this type of thing can happen. Now, it seems like some people love when this type of thing happens. I saw an anti-gun pundit on the news just a little bit ago saying, oh, the gun people hate when this happens. They hate when this happens. It hurts their cause. Well, I think everybody hates when this happens, except for people like you who love to crow about it and use it as a soapbox to get up on and preach your anti-freedom message. But most people, like I said, do hate it. But I wanted to point out today that there's some lessons here to be learned. There's always lessons to be learned, and they're lessons we've already learned multiple times. Like I said, this can happen anywhere. So always be prepared. Even if you don't think there's any chance in hell that you're going to need to be prepared, be prepared. It's better to be prepared and never face adversity than it is to face adversity and not be prepared. So that's a lesson we've all learned multiple times. That was one of the things that bothered me most about this. Other than the loss of life, what bothered me most is that this guy was able to get away with this without meeting any resistance. Once again, we hear the stories of, oh, I hid behind this, or one person even said, I hid in the machinery of the pen reset machine and just hoped he didn't come after me. And I'm like, wow, that's got to be the worst feeling in the world. That feeling of total helplessness and fear. Wouldn't you rather be able to say, hey, I took a position of cover and then I returned fire? Or at the very least, I took a position and hid, and if he came and opened the door to the closet I was in, I was going to start shooting. At least you know you can defend yourself, even if you choose not to defend others. That's a better feeling. Wouldn't that be a much better feeling? I can't imagine the terror that those people felt. It's kind of like back to the Pulse nightclub. The people who were in the bathroom that had no windows calling out people outside saying, hey, he's coming down the hallway. He's probably going to kill us. I love you, blah, blah, blah. Wouldn't it have been better if they could have said, hey, he's coming down the hallway. I've drawn my gun. There's a guy on the other side of the hall also has a gun. We're going to catch him in a crossfire. He's going to go down. That'd have been much better. I hate the fact that this guy was able to do this unopposed. Not only by civilians, but by police. That just goes to show you, where are police when you need protected? This guy was able to go to at least 2 different locations, open fire, and then still get away without ever being confronted by the police. If it wasn't for the fact that he abandoned his car, they probably wouldn't even know who did it yet. So just goes to show you, be prepared to defend yourself, because you don't want to be in a position where you can't, and you can't count on the police to protect you. That's another thing that got me about this, where the police have issued a lockdown order for the area. Yeah, that works real well on a Thursday afternoon when people have to go to work, etc. Oh, hide in your houses and we will protect you. You mean like you did last night? I don't like that at all either. That depend on the state for protection. You go hide. Don't like that lesson. That's a lesson we need to not learn. We cannot count on them to protect us. When we find ourselves in a dangerous situation, we better be able to protect ourselves, because we can't even count on other armed people to protect us. It's not their responsibility. Hopefully they will, but it's better to be prepared yourself. You know, if I'm carrying and I'm prepared to defend myself and my family, and you're not, that doesn't in any way increase my obligation to protect you. If I do that, it's out of the kindness of my heart. It's not out of any obligation. So prepare yourself. Also, this is another lesson in the failings of the mental health system. This guy had been involuntarily checked out because of erratic mental behavior. He said he was hearing voices. He had threatened physical violence. He threatened to shoot up a military base. What did the police do? They picked him up, took him to the hospital, had him get a medical evaluation, and then set him free. Because we don't have a system in place to deal with people in need when it comes to mental health. Period. We need less cops and more mental health people. Because mental health is the root of a lot of this violence and a lot of these problems. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of money in mental health. You can't hire extra mental health people and have them sit out by the highway and hand out tickets to generate revenue. So departments don't want to hire mental health people. States don't want to implement mental health procedures because there's no profit in it at all. There's no way to capitalize off of it. Nobody's buddy is going to get rich. And this is just another example of that failing. It's an example of how the system has let down the citizens, even the families of these people. You'd usually think the family would be the first line of defense against these people, that they would get something done. But too often the families want to ignore it because they don't want to admit that, yeah, it's my kid that's that problem or my husband that's a problem. And even if they did want to help, there's very little resources. There's very little that can be done. And I'm not talking lock people up and treat them like animals, take away their rights. I'm talking about get them treatment. Mental illness is illness. You don't lock people away when they have cancer. Don't do that when they have mental illness. Don't treat them like they're subhuman or somehow not able to be trusted. That just makes it worse. Give them the help they need. But unfortunately, we don't do that. We've learned that lesson again here. And like I said, we've also learned the lesson that you can't count on anyone to protect you. Not other armed civilians, not other armed citizens, not the police, nothing. You protect you. Don't find yourself hiding in a closet being afraid of that door opening up because you have no way to defend yourself. Don't find yourself hiding in a bathroom or in the machinery at a bowling alley, hoping they don't notice you because there's nothing you can do. Don't be that person. You don't want to feel what that feels like. So be prepared, even if you live somewhere where you think there's no chance of ever needing to be prepared. This just goes to show you, you never know. So get yourself ready, be prepared, hope for the best, but be ready for the worst.